Can starting a business make me rich? Becoming rich means different things to different people. Some may feel rich by building a net worth of $1 million. Others may be looking for financial freedom that lets them retire early. Can starting a business make me rich? Depends on how you define rich. Stay tuned and join the conversation. It's going to be a fun
Our goal is simple: to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a sustainable business. We promise to seek them out and address them all. The Better Your Business Show starts now.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's show. I'm Natalie, your host, and my co-host, the fabulous coach for business, Miss Shanna Mavis. And tonight we are chatting about, can starting a business make me rich? Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, you too.
I feel like you were in my head because I was like, we've been together too long. Maybe that's what it is, because I had the same questions as what you brought up in your intro, and I had no clue what you were going to say, because it's just like, I guess it really depends on what rich is. And I know we've got this chart that I found that, just kind of defines, if we can pull that up, that'd be great. The very first thing that just kind of defines that depending on your income level, where you are, that's where the scale for rich begins. I think if you're making like $25,000 a year, then it was almost $300,000. You thought that you were rich, and it just kind of incrementally grew from that point. But it all depends on what there it is. It all depends on what your definition of it is. The more that you make, I guess it's almost like getting older. The older you get, the older old is, right? I'm not old. I'm middle-aged. But it's the same thing with looking at this scale. Depending on where you are, when you're younger, you're thinking that, 300,000 or six figures. Maybe it's just six figures. If you reach six figures, then I'm rich. I've made it. But that's, not necessarily the case. It depends on what you're trying to do with this money as well. But
yeah, if you're married, if you have kids, right?
Yeah. That definitely makes a difference there.
Wives and kids, we're expensive. Woo!
For sure the kids.
Right, yes. My husband says I'm an investment, so hey.
Well worth it too, Natalie. Worth it.
Thank you, Shanna. Thank you.
But yeah, it's an interesting thing that a lot of business owners are asking this question: will starting a business make me rich? There's this desire to have so much money. And really, when a lot of people come to me that want assistance, if that's the goal, I want to be rich, or I want to have a lot of money. Well, to what end? And what's a lot? Tell me what that means to you so that we can figure out how do we get you from where you are to that point. So, I'm excited for our guest tonight, because I know that she's going to have a lot to say about this, coming from, just knowing a little bit about her background and how she works with clients, having those conversations, just kind of getting some insight from her on what people are asking about, what that magic number is, and how does she get them from there to there, so that business owners that are listening tonight will know, okay, I need to take these steps. Well, looky there. Being rich is like the definition of success. It's all about perspective. That's our wonderful guest expert that we're hiding from you right now. We're going to bring her on in just a little bit, but that's valid. It is like success. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and she was saying, I don't want this huge business. I want to be able to work, make enough money to pay my bills. I have the house that I want, and nothing like fancy or extravagant. And she was just like, I don't care about success anymore. And I was like, no, you've just redefined it. Success to you means that you get the opportunity to not worry about where money's coming from, and you get to spend time and prayer and meditation and, growing your relationship with God. That was something that was important to her. And I was like, that's success. It's not, you don't have to look at someone else's definition. So I completely agree with Angie there that it's all about your perspective.
Right. And, I found that because I've been doing financial strategies for 20 years. I hear that a lot. I want to be rich, or I want to be rich, or it's about that thing. Have that conversation about just about what you said. They really want peace of mind. They really want to not be stressed about their finances. They don't want to worry about their car breaking down. They want to have a reliable income, live in a good neighborhood, have their kids in good schools, right? Not stress about the credit card company paying them, or college and all that stuff. And so I love that we're having this conversation, because the other thing that I found too is that when I would dial it back down for people, the number was always less than they thought it was going to be. And then when we started putting the systems and habits in place for them to get there, they could see, wow, this is really attainable for me, right? Or even just, I think about even becoming financially independent. My goal right now, I want to have in the next 3 years a 6-figure passive income. And so I'm always looking at how much passive income do I have coming in daily? Where's it coming from? What is my margins on that? And really, it's not even that hard, depending on what your margin is, to have a 6-figure passive income. And it's just, these are things we never just stop and take the time to look at. So I'm very excited for tonight's conversation, because it's, the number one most Googled question, right?
Yeah. And it's funny that you were talking about how attainable that is. I was talking to a different friend of mine a while back, and she thought I was nuts when I said this. So I mean, and maybe I am, but maybe not for that reason. But she was talking about $1 million. That was like the number for her. And I was like, well, anyone can make $1 million. I mean, it's really not that difficult to make $1 million. Mm-hmm. I was like, and it's not as much money as you really think it is. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know it's $1 million when you say it, that it equals what it equals, but it is not so unattainable now. Years ago, and I, watching some of these older shows that I was watching, hearing how much money they were spending on, like the Jeffersons, we talked about that. They're talking about $3,000 fur coats and things. And back then, that was huge.
Huge.
They were rich, but it was still just millions of dollars in the bank that he had. And they're spending these extravagant amounts at the time for that, where now, that's a pair of shoes for someone, right? That's not that, it's not that unattainable to think that you can make $1 million. So don't sell yourself short. And really, I love that you were saying, when you dialed it back with them and just kind of counted everything out, it's just like, well, yeah, you can do this. This is the path that you're going to take.
Right. And then the next question I always think of is, in what amount of time? Because most of us that have been working for a little bit, we've already made millions. Is the truth. I'm multimillionaire, baby. Right? There's a lot of us. And what amount of time do you want to have that? Why is the number $1 million? Does that mean $1 million coming in? Does that mean $1 million in the bank? What does that mean? So,
yeah.
All right. So we are going to bring up our guest expert tonight. Yes, we're ready?
Yes, we're ready.
All right. So we have Angie Giltner joining us tonight, and she is the founder of Creating Fierce Female Titans. So, of course, I already love her. She's been a master business coach for 10 years. She says she energizes women all around the world to succeed in business. And you know what? I already knew that before she even opened her mouth, because you can just tell she's going to be a ton of fun. Please, Carlton, help us bring Angie to the show. There she is. Yes.
You get the applause.
Angie. Drop the mic. I'm out.
Yeah.
You get all the love tonight, Angie.
All the love. Welcome to the show, and thank you so much for joining us and helping us with the conversation of, starting a business make me rich. Obviously, in your 10 years of coaching and working with individuals and working with coaches who are working with individuals, I'm sure you've seen people get results and some not so much. So what is your perspective on tonight's topic?
Yeah. So, oh my goodness. A lot of people struggle as entrepreneurs. And
I love that you said, making $1 million isn't really that difficult, but people get in our own way and we make it difficult because of one, and I attribute it to one thing: our ego. Our ego gets in the way and it holds us back because our ego tells us we don't need help. Our ego tells us we can do everything ourselves. We don't need to delegate. We're super people. There's nothing that we can't do, right? Our ego tells us that we can be all the magic for all the people all the time, including our loved ones. Not reality, right? And so it is really our ego. If you're not earning the money that you want to earn in your business, check your ego. And for some of you, you're out there going, my ego don't need checked. I'm good. Right? And so then I would say, then take a look at your bank account and
Talk about that again. Yes.
Let's talk about that again.
Yeah. So I love that because it really goes in line with our, we had our Dear Better Your Business show. So I'll read you guys that. And so I'm curious to hear what you have to say now about this. So it says, hey, Natalie and Shanna, I've been hustling in the world of food trucks for the past year, dishing out mouth-watering gourmet burgers. It's been great, but now I'm ready to level up. Are there any secret ingredients to scaling up my food truck business without losing the magic? I've built a loyal customer base and the demand for my burgers keeps growing, but I'm at a crossroads. I don't want to sacrifice quality or compromise the personal touch that makes my food truck special. So how do successful food entrepreneurs strike the right balance between growth and staying true to their roots? Any tasty tips to share? Thrilla on the gorilla. I love it.
Love that. So do you mind if I jump in and grab some of this?
Love it.
So I would say, look at diversifying who you're serving. Really look at who is showing up every day, and you're going to get a good sense of who your avatar is. Those are your loyal super fans who are coming, that you've already mastered how to delight and serve on a regular basis. And then look who's missing from that. Look for segments of the population who are missing from that. So if college students are the people who are showing up each and every day, how do you go after some professional people? How do you go after blue collar workers? How do you go after the people who are working the graveyard shift? Whatever. Look at ways how you can delight and serve other markets. And that way you're not sacrificing anything. You're just introducing yourself into a whole new group of people.
I love that. I love that answer. That's a great one.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Shanna. Sorry.
No, you're fine. If you want to.
Well, because when I first thought about it, my first thought was, well, how do you want to scale? What does that mean? You want to become a brick and mortar? You want a second food truck? What does that mean to you? So that was the first thing, because you don't want to scale too quickly too at the same time and take on more than you can handle. So my thoughts were, okay, if I was a food truck, how could I scale and not put, too much pressure on myself? I'm just kind of sliding into growth. Right. And so I love that. If you're just, you're just, I guess, adding to your menu, right? Whether it's desserts or like a ramen burger, if you're going after college kids, or a keto burger. So I love that, adding to your menu, and then you're not really, you're just adding to your menu, right?
Okay, so I'm thrown off by this ramen burger idea. you gave me pause for thought there. But I was Natalie, you need to get out of my head tonight. But I was thinking the same thing. Without more context, I'm curious about the possibility of having another food truck. But that does require you to, one, delegate, let go, and trust people. You've got to have your processes tight. You've got to have the recipes down. You've got to be open and trusting. And that's really hard, but it goes back to Angie's point earlier. Check your ego. Make sure that you're ready, because if you're not ready to, you say you want to scale and grow, but you don't want to let anyone else do any of the things that need to be done for the business to scale and grow. What, there's a problem. You're not going to be able to make it there. So yeah, that was initially my thought was, do you have the ability to open up another food truck? How much have you put aside if your business is thriving and growing? But the other thing that I would have done would have been to, I guess, a combination of what you guys are saying. What can you add to the menu? For us, when we added corn dogs, it made a huge difference for us. And then we were like, we'll fry anything. I will fry whatever you bring to it, So we added mushrooms, we added onion rings, we did all of these things because we were like, oh, it doesn't cost us any more in equipment. We have all of this here. We have the ability to do it. It just kind of broadened our minds a little bit to serve people in a different way. That generated more revenue for us without us really having to change our model at all. So there's another possibility there. And we served a different market. We tried, instead of just being at the farmer's market, we did an event at the school. So that opened up possibilities for us there. The business owner needs to define what scale means to them too. Yeah, I totally agree, Denise. Ooh. Oh, okay. We're still with the same thing. Carlton loves it. It's that.
Me, sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, it's me.
Okay, Carlton, I'm so sorry. That was Natalie.
Yeah, sorry, Carlton. You get in trouble for me.
So I guess in that line, Angie, I know this business owner almost, I guess it's a similar situation. She's got a brick and mortar. It's an amazing coffee shop, almost at capacity. Anytime you go in, it's packed. So, she created this merch area as well. So she opened that up a little bit, but it's just like, still, you can only seat so many people. You can only serve so many cups of coffee. So many, the menu is where it needs to be. So what ideas, and this is just throwing it out there. What ideas can someone like that do? What do you do when you feel like you're at capacity?
Yeah. So, if they want to stay with just one brick and mortar, they can start to offer things like a subscription box so that it comes directly to their home. And so that people are still getting to experience and enjoy the coffee that they love and show up for on a regular basis. And it helps remove people from the brick and mortar so that new people can show up and enjoy, because that's the other thing is you don't know how many people who are walking by every day going, oh, I would love to go in there, but I don't have 30 minutes to wait, or something along those lines, And so, perhaps that's something that you invest in and have somebody out on the sidewalk taking note and asking questions and engaging with people and saying, I would love to know why you're willing to wait in line for 40 minutes for a cup of coffee or something along those lines, and get to know, because then they might be looking for, because having things delivered to our home is kind of the norm now.
Yeah.
And so, doing something along those lines might work for them. Now it's going to require some labor on the back end, because anytime you do that, obviously you're going to have to get them packaged up, and there's some logistics that are involved and some costs that are involved as well. However, subscription boxes are still a way to go to make a lot of money in a short amount of time. And maybe by going that route too, that would award them the ability to start doing pop-up coffee shops in other areas, just to see, like, is this a place where we would want to get a brick and mortar? And doing a little pop-up might be a good way for them to go.
I love that. Yeah, that's kind of where they started. And she was entertaining that when one of the last times I talked to her, she was entertaining that. And I really, and I saw Denise pop up. That is a great idea, the subscription box. I know that she makes these amazing cookies. And I was like, you know what? I would do like a care package, when it's back to school time. I would sell the shit out of those cookies because I'm like, college kids get homesick, and this is something that they're familiar with, and it's not that expensive. She's already got the mechanisms in place for shipping. I was just like, package that up and start promoting that and seeing if you can do that. So I think that's I'm going to take all of these ideas back to her because guess
I
what?
have one. Can I share one that I want to give?
Yes, please.
Well, Angie is what made me think of it when she said the prescription or the subscription boxes, but it made me think of, I can't tell you how many real estate offices I've stepped into, mortgages offices I've stepped in to do lunch and learns with them, or breakfast and learns, or brought in a tray of breakfast foods and coffee and juices. And so maybe she could even pitch real estate agents and people that do that step to bring breakfast into their offices. They just go by, pick it up, take it out the door. And those are some big sales for them. So
yeah, brilliant.
Good food.
Okay, now I'll just point her to the episode.
Yeah.
We solved all of her problems. You for sure, this one person for sure will better their business. As well as the Thrill It on the Grilla. So yeah, I love that. Okay. But we do need to talk about, will starting a business make me rich? So let's just say that whatever your definition of rich is, can you get there by starting a business? Because we talked last week about many of us, or, there were several of us who grew up with the idea that in order to get rich, whatever that means, I've got to go to school, I've got to, follow this traditional path. But we're saying, or I guess a lot of people are asking, can I do it this way instead?
Yeah. And the answer is yes, but.
Not yes, but a yes.
Yes. And I normally am an and kind of a person rather than an or kind of a person. But in this particular circumstance, the business isn't just going to show up at your computer or show up at your door and go, here's my credit card, take my money, You've got to put verbs is my favorite word in the English language. Well, I have another 4-letter word that's my favorite word, but it's probably not appropriate for this show. So verbs is my second favorite 4-letter word. And you've got to do the work. You just have to. It is not optional. It's not negotiable. And for all business, it can look a little different. It just depends on if you're a brick and mortar versus online, if you're service-based or product-based, all of the things. There's so many variables that go into it. However, in general, one of the main reasons that people start their businesses is to be in control of their income and not have the glass ceiling doesn't exist when you are an entrepreneur. And the only limit that you have is between your ears. That's the only limit that you have. And so when I hear people say, oh, the economy, or oh, supply chain, or oh, this, or oh, that, I'm like, that's your own limiting beliefs. That's the stuff between your ears getting in your way, because there are no limits whenever you're an entrepreneur, but you got to do the work.
Yeah. And I think that's what people don't want to do, whether it's getting rich or having a business or even going to work. It seems like a lot of these days. But I want to be a devil's advocate on that a little bit to our audience on what work means, especially with you being a coach, because I know that you've experienced, I myself have gone through this being an entrepreneur, and I've had to take my clients through this, but we have this certain identity when it comes to our income, right? And so we can go from our 9-to-5 job where we were making $50,000 a year and then go into being an entrepreneur and still make $50,000 a year, right? So maybe that's okay. Maybe that's the goal and you want to be in charge of your time, but identity, I know, plays a factor in that. So can you touch on that a little bit and maybe some tips on how people can kind of grow through that?
Sure. So nothing gets done unless it's measured. And that's just the way that it is in business. And you're never more in control of your business than when you fully understand your numbers down to the most intimate detail, like how many prospects do I have to talk to on average before I get a sale? What's the average of my sale? What's the average life cycle of my client? I mean, and for those of us who don't like numbers, it is not negotiable. You need to understand those numbers. Now, you can delegate and you can bring people into your business who can help you with those numbers, but you really do need to understand them. And getting rich through working, and I totally lost my train of thought there because I have another thought that keeps popping in my head. So I guess I'm supposed to say it now and not wait to say it because it won't keep popping out of my head. So, but part of the number that you need to understand, there's actually 3 numbers that you need to be very, very clear on. And they're actually, to me, these are kind of fun numbers to really feel into and see what works best for you. And that's and I would do these, I recommend monthly. So whatever number you come up with, this would be a monthly number. And that's your sigh of relief metric. Okay. That's the amount of money that you need to bring into your business every month where you can just breathe a sigh of relief. Like, my bills are paid. I can do the things that I want to do. And I have a little bit extra. Oh yeah. Okay. Whew, I can breathe a sigh of relief, right? Like if you're an entrepreneur, you know what that feels like. And then you also know okay, then I got that number that I don't like. And then there's the holy crap number. And the holy crap number is, oh my gosh, my bills are paid. And I get to pay myself a really nice salary, and I get to remodel my kitchen, and I get to take my family on vacation. And like in 2021, I was able to pay off 2 brand new vehicles and a $50,000 second mortgage. I was like, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap. Like, you don't know how many times, when I might have not said crap, but so then there's that. And knowing what that metric is so important, because what gets measured gets done, right? And then there's okay, now how much can I give metric? It's like, I am sufficient. I have taken in what I need to take in. I am breathing a sigh of relief. I am saying, holy crap, month after month after month. And now it's time for me to give back to something, And I always recommend doing something along those lines because it's just so much more fulfilling. And I'm just a firm believer in the more that we're blessed, the more we need to bless others. Yeah. That's just the philosophy that I have, that I just think is so important. And it's just the right thing to do. So you need to get really super clear on what those numbers are.
I love it. The recipe. I always think of that as the recipe, right? This is the recipe that you need to follow every month. Like you're baking a cake in the kitchen, you go in there and you follow this recipe every month. That 30-day, you're going to hit that sigh of relief goal. You're good. You don't have to have fear behind it. You're not a cash spurt. You're a cash flow person. You get your recipe down. You can add a little bit of spice or whatever for that next level. But I love that you said that because to me, I think that's everything. So I love that. Your sigh of metric relief. We're going to go to a quick video from one of our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
As an entrepreneur, you have a vision of business that will change your life and the lives of others. Pillar 5 helps you set realistic goals and expectations. When you choose Pillar 5, you can be confident that a team of experts has your back at all times. Regardless of where you're at in your journey, we want to ensure that your business survives, grows, and flourishes. You'll know which step to take as you build your business and sustainable and successful. No more guessing where your business could be or where it's going. Join Pillar 5 today.
Yeah.
I keep having a challenge with
Yeah.
audio with that. I don't know what's going on there, but we
Yeah.
will get it figured out. So tonight we have Angie Giltner with us, and we are talking about, will starting a business make me rich? She is the founder of Creating Fierce Female Titans, and she is fierce. And we're happy to have you here and talk about getting rich tonight.
You know what? I would love. I think
2013.
Carlton.
And by July of 2014, I had $2.84 in my business bank account. I was a broke entrepreneur. I was so broke, right? And so I tried the free coach of Google. I had listened to all the experts. I tried all the cookie cutter methods that were guaranteed to produce results, and nothing. I got $2.84 out of it with no clients in my pipeline. If you don't think that that was absolutely frightening, I'm here to tell you, sleepless nights, cried myself to sleep many times. The imposter syndrome was massive during that time. And I realized I did not go into business to be broke, and I definitely didn't go into business to fail.
Yes.
That was what really touched me when I saw that video. Angie and I met on Alignable, and when I went to sign up to meet with her, because I was like, we need you on the show. It's amazing. It was about the very first episode that we had, why starting a business so hard, and her answer was just so heartfelt and genuine. But she mentioned ego, and I was like, that is so true. And I was like, we need to get her. We need to talk to her. Well, when I, put my name in the appointment thing, I went, it was just like, hey, go watch this video first so you'll know what you're getting into. And I watched it, and I was astounded, because I know that's how so many people feel. You're doing so much. You are working at it. And a year later, you have nothing to show for it, and nothing in sight. So yeah.
Yes. Oh, thank God those days are behind me. It took me a very long year to figure it out. But I mean, it was awful. That's all I can say.
I guess in alignment with what we're talking about tonight, will starting a business make me rich? Help us understand your journey over that year, because like I said, I know that there are so many business owners that are listening and watching that feel this, that have felt the imposter syndrome, that have questioned whether or not they should still be doing this. So walk us through your journey over that year and beyond.
Sure. So back in 2013, I had a very big ego, and I thought, that whole saying, if I build it, they will come, right? Like I bought into that. That's okay. For one, that's crap. All right. So just don't even listen to that. That's really bad advice, because it's not true. And unless you already have a powerful brand behind you, like if you're somebody who is already a very powerful brand, or you're operating a very powerful brand, that's a different story. But if you're like me in 2013, I was just getting started, but I really thought if I built it, they would come, and I chased $1. Like any fool who would give me 5 cents, I was like, okay, I'll do business with you. Because I thought I could serve everyone, and I just thought that I could change everybody's lives. Well, let me tell you. Yeah, not good. I wasn't getting good quality client testimonials because I didn't know what the crap I was doing. I was chasing $1, which means I wasn't a good fit as a coach for the client, and they weren't a good client that was a good fit for me, because both of those things have to come together. Okay. That is one, especially if you're in a service-based industry. I don't care what your service is that you offer, your client has to be just as good of a fit for you as you are for that client. Otherwise, you're just exchanging time for money, and then you're just chasing $1, and it just doesn't work. But I did that because I thought that's what you had to do as an entrepreneur. And then I thought you had to work 12, 15, 16, 17 hours a day, never breathing, never taking time off, forgetting that you have friends and family out there in the world. And I worked 93 days straight. And when I tell you 12, 14, 16 hours a day, not even kidding. And all of a sudden, my body said, you have to stop. And I ended up in the hospital for 5 days.
Wow.
I was exhausted and I was dehydrated. And I mean, come on now, that was ridiculous. Like, I look back at myself and go, Angie, I have 4 college degrees. You would think I knew something. But I wasn't smart enough to figure that out at the time because my ego got in the way. I thought that's what I had to do. And I just was chasing a dollar. So I was working all kinds of crazy mad hours because I never said no. Right. And I was giving my services away for free. And the people who were paying me were not paying me my worth because I was just getting started. So I didn't feel like I could charge the premium dollars. My imposter syndrome was real. And if you knew me today, like, you would say you never had imposter syndrome because that's what people think. That's what they assume of me. And I'm like, oh, let me tell you. I have battled imposter syndrome, and there are moments that I still do. I'm actually working with a client in Hollywood right now, and I have a little bit of imposter syndrome. Like, I have to keep reminding myself because they're like big time famous, and I'm this business coach from Northeast Ohio, like, but anyhow, so, and it was during that time that my husband sat me down and said, did you forget you were married? Oh,
Wow.
To my soul,
Yes.
I sobbed and I sobbed and I sobbed and I sobbed. And I look back over that time, and to this day, I'm so heavily involved in my nieces and nephews' lives. I missed out on everything during that time. All of their plays that they were in school, all of their band concerts, all of their sporting events. I missed birthdays. I mean, because I thought that's what I had to do. And I was so wrong. I was just so wrong. And so that 5 days in the hospital cost me dearly. I mean, not only was it financially, because I had hospital bills on top of that. I wasn't bringing in any money because I was chasing a dollar. And then, come July 2014, my first year in business, I look at my business bank account. I had $2.84. And I was just like, what am I doing? Like, this is ridiculous. And I had to go deep. Like, I really had to evaluate myself. And I realized my number one enemy was my ego. And for someone who is like, you can probably guess, I'm a super confident person. And for somebody to admit that is, I mean, it's easy for me now, but like in 2015, 2016, it wasn't super easy for me to admit it.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, my ego got in the way. And I finally said, okay, Angie, you don't know it all. Yes, you have 4 college degrees, but you still don't know it all. And so I had to figure out and do something different. So I mustered everything that I possibly could. I bootstrapped everything I possibly could. Thank God my husband believes in me. He's my biggest cheerleader. And which is so important. If you can have those supportive people in your corner, can make a big, big difference during those more challenging times. And he's like, if anyone can make this work, Angie, it's you. And I hung on to those words, and I bootstrapped, and I found the money to invest in business coaching. And I can tell you that $10,000 investment continues to pay off 9 years later. I mean, it was like the smartest thing I've ever done. It's the best investment that I have ever made in myself and in my business. And I will tell you today, I will never not have a coach. Never. Because I know that I need someone to hold me accountable. And when my ego starts to get in the way, because believe me, when I landed my Hollywood client, I was like, yeah, I'm right. Yep. And my coach had to say, okay, Angie, you need to check yourself. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I do need to check myself. Oh, but can I just have this moment,
Yeah. And you should celebrate those moments, right?
Yes.
Because that's a huge deal. I mean, I don't know any I mean, I've met like celebrities, but I don't know anyone. Name names. It's not going to matter to me. It probably drives Natalie crazy because she's like, I was just in the room with this person. And I'm like, who is that? I don't know that person. But it's still a huge deal because they are well known. There's a status. And I think you absolutely should stop and celebrate those things. But I love that you had someone that pulled you back to just be like, okay, come on, Angie, it's you and me, girl. Angie, stop. So yeah, I think that's important.
Well, not only that too, but it makes me think on if the imposter syndrome was the opposite, where it wasn't like I'm the 4-letter word right now. Maybe it was like, I don't deserve this. I'm not good enough. Blah 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 blah. Well, they just validated, yes, you are.
Yeah.
Right. Look at a different perspective. Oh, you know what I mean? It's like that imposter can shut up because clearly I'm working with so and so now. So I'm fired up about this, right? My hard work is paying off. So it could go either way.
And that's it, the hard work, because you've put so much into this that there was something about what you said that made them realize you can help them. They put their ego aside and said, yeah, she can help me. And I've been watching too much TV. Well, not too much TV. I'm not judging myself that way, but I've been watching a lot of Billions. And as you're talking, you remind me, yes, Natalie, I'm on the Billions bandwagon now. You remind me so much of Wendy Rhodes. As you're talking, I'm just like, I could see you just walking into a place and just being like, I got this, you know. Yes. If you want better performance, talk to me. So yeah, I think it's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. And then throughout my journey, I realized that business success relies on 3 major foundational things, and that's your mind, your motivation, and your mission. And you have to have so much clarity around that. And those are the first things that I unpack when I'm working with any client, regardless of the industry, regardless of where the business stage they're in or whatever. And once again, it's what gets measured gets done. And people don't think you can measure your mind. Well, I'm going to challenge that a little bit because I help my clients quantify, their mind and different types of things. And same thing with motivation and their mission. And because I just know what gets measured gets done. And it's different than just setting goals. I don't want to poo-poo on goals. Goals are important. You have to have something to strive for. But to me, goals imply that there's a finish line. And I'm not held back by any finish line, because whenever I reach one milestone, then I'm going bigger, then I'm going deeper, then I'm going higher, then I'm going wider, whatever it looks like for that particular activity verb that I'm doing. And so because there is no finish line, and to me, that's the definition of creating wealth, because whenever you set goals, you reach it and then you stop. That's what holds you back. You're not going to get rich doing that. In my professional opinion, you've got to just open up, and there is no finish line. There's milestones. It's like, okay, it's like, think about running a marathon. Okay. Oh, I made it to mile 13. Now I'm at mile 17. Now I'm at mile 18. Now I'm at mile 26. And you know what? I still need to get to my vehicle. So there's another 1/4 of a mile in there, and then I get to rest for a day, but then it's right back to training because the next marathon is coming next month or whatever, so thinking about it like that.
Yeah, because we're growing or we're dying, right? So it's like if we hit the goal and then that's the end of it, well, then that's the end, right? We have to keep going towards something, having something to move towards. It makes me think a lot about too, I'm sure you see this a lot in your career, how many people have to reinvent themselves several times as we're going through this journey of creating wealth or getting wiser in life, right? Leveling up. I like to call them levels, like we're playing video games as opposed to miles, right? Leveling up, my next level. But there's so much to be said in the reinvention of ourselves to get to that next milestone. Love that. I love that.
Yeah.
It's such a great word. I feel like I'm going to change my whole vocabulary now.
Yes. Well, and consumer demand will force us to reinvent ourselves. Just think about what's happened over the last 3-4 years. Consumer demand forces us. Like, I was an in-person brand pre-COVID, and I just traveled around. I mean, people would fly me in to, come into their organizations and that type of thing. And now it's like, I ain't flying you nowhere, lady. You can talk to me from your desk.
Yeah,
Like, okay.
So here's the challenge that I face with because I love goals and milestones, right? I think for me, I hesitate with eliminating goals. And I know that that's not what you were saying, but I hesitate without looking at a finish line for something, because I think without that, most entrepreneurs lose focus anyway. And so if there's not a point that you can say, I finished this, I attained this, I think it's a challenge for some, because if you're always striving reach and you never reach the end goal, then, where are you? What are you doing? You may tend to go off or veer in the wrong direction or pivot before you should, right? So that's my struggle there. I love what you're saying, and I don't disagree with it at all. But that was where I was just like, but I need goals. And I encourage people to have them, but I also encourage you to gamify that. You reach that. That doesn't mean that's the end. That means that you made it there. Where are we going next? What are we doing? And I love that you were saying, I'll go left, I'll go right, I'll go side. I was like, Angie's going all directions. She will go wherever she needs to because she made it to this point. So whatever you're calling that, whether that's the milestone or whether that's the goal, it's really looking and saying, okay, I made it.
Yep.
I made it. Congratulations.
Yes, absolutely. And that's why, like, when people coach with me, every week there's wins, because there's a weekly workbook that they have to work through. And it's intense, and we celebrate, and it's like, look, okay, now you need to do that. And self-care is always incorporated in with that celebration. It's like we're celebrating the win that you got. And so where I replace the word goals with wins, having those wins and those things to celebrate. And but then incorporating the self-care as part of that celebration is, because otherwise you're going to be the entrepreneur like me who ends up in the hospital, and I don't recommend that for anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. I cannot believe how time has flown.
I could talk for hours.
I am sad to see that we are almost at the end of our time with you for tonight.
Yes.
You have been an amazing guest. Absolutely love what you had to say. Love that you took it from this place that so many of our audience members have been or are right now. I have nothing in my account and nothing in the foreseeable future, but I still have this goal, or I still have this win, or I still have this milestone. I still have this dream. I have this business, and I know I can make it work. And I know that it will, create generational wealth for my family if I can just get from $2.84 to, $1 million or whatever the case may be. So I love that you started where they are. You understand their plight, and you've been there and you made it through. So yes, starting a business can make you rich.
Yes. In many different ways. Yes. Ditto to all that Shanna said. Thank you so much for joining us. If you guys go to her website, which is angiegiltner.com, you can download her free book, your business, her information on our website. So go check that out and hear what she has to say. So thank you so much, Angie, for joining us.
Thank you so much. It has been such a pleasure.
Awesome. All right.
Wow. This is going to be now my next favorite part of the show. You know what time it is, right?
Just good business? Or,
Okay. It's your boy Fitzroy.
Oh, it's your boy Fitzroy. That's my level up buddy too, by the way.
I was like, okay, I do love Just Good Business, but it's your boy Fitzroy. We want to have that up. He's got an amazing. I am just astounded every week. I'll talk while Carlton's pulling that up, but he has got something every week that I've just been like, this is awesome. Okay, here we go.
Yes, that's Fitzroy.
I can't hear it.
Audio, Carlton.
We get it playing and then we can't hear it. Okay, it's going to come back up in just a little bit, but I want to, while we're waiting on that, what were some of your takeaways from the conversation with Angie?
Shoot, you threw me off because there was one thing I did want to talk to on your goal thing. Oh, I was curious on your feedback on the having goals thing. That was one thing I wanted to ask you because I was thinking about exercise, right? And thinking about like if we have a weight loss goal. Well, what happens when I hit my weight loss goal? Does that mean I don't continue to do the things that got me there? Right. So then how do I shift the goal at that point? Maybe the goal is not, hey, I need to lose 10 pounds. Maybe the goal is to consistently exercise 4 days a week like I've been doing. So that was one of the things that made me think about that is, does the goal necessarily have to change every month? Maybe the goal is my business to create the same lifestyle I had this month, where I had peace of mind. I did all the things that I wanted to do. I don't know that it has to change.
It's your boy Fitzroy, and I have a banger of a website that not only did I wish I had in high school, but will help you better your business. The website is Chat PDF, which acts like a plugin for ChatGPT. If you have a long contract, notes, or even an ebook in the form of a PDF, you can upload it here, then ask ChatGPT a question, and it will answer that question based on the information in that PDF. Instantly, you can get specific clauses about restrictions in a contract, payouts, or all the answers to a story for your book club. Not that I would condone something like that. All without having to read the entire PDF. And there you have it. Check out the website, read some PDFs, and most importantly of all, don't get beat up out there.
He's like,
I love that. You can make your own flip notes. Make your own flip notes.
Yeah. I always find those so helpful. And every time I try them out, if I haven't already, if I didn't know about it, I would try that out. So, but the goals, and I think that was kind of my point, Natalie, was you have to have something to obtain. I have to have this point that I've made, because if I just said, okay, well, I've got to lose weight and there's no goal, there's nothing that I can measure. There's nothing specific, all of the, and not necessarily even in a SMART goal way, even though I am all 100% behind that. If I just said, I need to lose weight, well, I'm going to get, what does that really mean? And how do I know when I've lost enough? But I'd rather say I need to lose 10 pounds, lose the 10 pounds, and then say, okay, now I either need to maintain, that's going to be my goal, or I'm going to cut out this, or I'll set something different, but I made it to that first stop, and I know that's why Angie was referring to them as milestones. And I'm okay using that language as long as you've got something that you can say definitively, I've made it here. I've measured that. Like she kept saying, what gets measured is what really matters there. It's what gets accomplished. It's what's achieved, because you're measuring that. That there's an end point where I can say, good job, or let me try harder, or what do I need to do, or I can get a coach, or I can get someone in that can help me understand why I haven't made it to this point. But yeah. All right, we are running out of time, and we've got money to give away, or not. We don't have money to give away.
Yes, we do.
Yes, but we want to talk to you about money that is being given away, and you've got a money minute for us too, don't you?
Yes.
You want to do that?
Sure. Mine's
Okay.
going to be quick. So, I've been doing a lot of writing as I've been studying more just about mindset on money, because I'm thinking about what's my next level and how can I scale. And then obviously you guys know I've been doing a lot of publishing on Amazon. So I'm just studying all that stuff and blah. And so a lot of what I've been studying has been around, what makes an abundant mindset. And it was funny because it's not being afraid to give away things for free, basically. So what I'm going to do is one of them is I'm going to take you to one of my competitor sites, because I haven't done the work, and show you how they have all these free courses that you can take to learn about money.
Nice.
And it is, let's see if I did it right. Hold on, show you my screen. Share screen. Okay, guys, Shanna.
What's that?
Can you guys see it if I do that? Oh,
yes. I can see it now. Clever Girl Finance.
Cool. I don't know how I did that. It's good news. I think it's Carlton doing it. I don't think it's me. I don't even know. But so yes, Clever Girl Finance, they have over 30 courses on there that you can go to. Carlton, is that you showing that, or is it me? Okay, I'm going to scroll down.
So she's got 30 courses available.
Yeah, over 30 courses on there that you can go, and they have book club stuff. They also have sheets that you can use, budgeting worksheets, business worksheets, all on there that you can do. I have been sheets. I don't know why they're not posting on Instagram. I first found them on Instagram and was following them a lot, because she gives away so much great information. I had someone reach out to me on social media. I responded to some minimalist thing, and they're like, how do you do it? How do you know this stuff? So one of the things that I would say is, who are you following on Instagram? What are you looking at, right? Hopefully it's not just all the whatever, I don't know what, hopefully it's things that are going to help you, but like finance or whatever. But you can go there, take those free courses, use her worksheets, and start empowering yourself in that area so that you can make better financial decisions. Because look, this is the bottom line of it. Will starting a business make me rich? Yes, it can bring in a lot of money for you. But if you don't know what to do with that money, it is never going to work out for you. You're never going to be able to receive more into your life either if what you have is a mess, right? So if you want to continuously bring more money in to grow, you got to take care of what you have first to make it sustainable in your business. So check these out, free courses. Start working on your money mindset. Money is a mindset. Money is a tool we use every single day, but we're not taught how to use it. Empower yourself. Start taking the time, 10 minutes a day. Follow the right people on social media. Increase your money IQ. You will be amazed at what happens in your life. I promise you that. I'm sorry I went over, Shanna, all you.
Oh, no, you're totally fine. We're going to give away, or we're going to talk about grants. This is one we talked about last week. It's expiring on the 9th of June. I believe that's the 9th of June. So eBay up and running grants, $10,000 each. That's the first one. The next one that we have is also, I think that was Progressive was the next one. They're $25,000 for a vehicle. If you have a business that requires a vehicle to run, yeah, you can keep going through them. Yeah, there's $25,000 small business grants for Founders First. This one is new, but it expires next week. So Founders First has a National Pride Grant for LGBTQIA+ small businesses. They're giving away 25 $1,000 grants for a total of $25,000 in small business grants. So here are the rules for that. Here's another one that's brand new for us this week, the Small Business Innovative Research. We were talking about R&D, and I wish Angie was on here to tell us again what was it? Her R&D was rip off and
I know
duplicate.
It's in the private chat.
Rip off and duplicate. So yes, that's I love that she said that. But in case you are in the tech field and you're into research and development. The government through the SBA is giving away like 150,000 to over $1 million. If you can help with certain projects for the government. So if you're a small business that identifies as such, check that out if you're in the technology field. And then there's that last one again, it's progressive. It's expiring tomorrow. So if you have a vehicle or if you need a vehicle for your business, it may be well worth you looking into this. And I think this is for women or female entrepreneurs. So definitely check that out. And I think that's that. Yeah. There's the free money.
All right. Final thoughts?
Yeah.
Wrap it up,
I
Shanna.
loved everything that she had to say.
Tonight's show, will starting a business make me rich? And I'll tell you, don't get obsessed with money. Money is definitely important, right? It's right up there with oxygen, but it's only one of the areas of life we have to take care of. Let's not forget about our health, relationships, or quality of life. We want to be rich while also being the best version of ourselves. Have a great week, everybody. Do something that will help you better your business. Take care.
Our goal is simple: to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a sustainable business. We promise to seek them out and address them all.